We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a dear heritage, biased and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh, yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobuni wave was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is sign of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh, yeah. People of Biafra. See light shining on the world. Oh, yeah.
What's that, Martin? We're not fighting each other. We know where we're going. We're going to get Biafra. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. I need them to understand this. We've crossed the Rubicon, the point of no return. There is nothing anybody can do. If I'm alive, if I'm dead, if I'm wherever I may be, Biafra will come. If I'm dead, it's even better because it will come far more quicker. I can assure you. If Biafra is fighting for you, no one will touch your property. If you're fighting alone, you're bound to lose it. So Biafra is the best. We will become the 16th member country of ECOWAS. If Nigeria doesn't release those properties, then we'll take them to court and we'll get them back. Even twice the value. The Jews had investments all over the world. Most of the priceless artifacts and paintings belong to many families in Germany. It was stolen by the Nazi Party. Do you know that? Eventually, they got everything back with compensation on top of it. That's what we're going to do. If you touch our investments, we'll come back for you, and we'll know where we can get it from. So there is nothing for anyone to worry about. It's only if I'm not stopping you from being a Nigerian. If you are born on the streets of Lagos and you want to be a Lagosian and your name is Adamma, oh well and good. There's no problem.
Onye si na akata anya ahụhụ ma ọ bụ na anyị fe arụsị anyị wee na-efe arụsị iwe were iwe gị na ọmụma gị wee bịa leta anyị ụmụ anyị wee na-anwụsị ụfọdụ nọ n'ụzọ ije ha anaghị alọta ụlọ ọzọ nne na nna wee na-ata ahụhụ wee na-ata ikikere eze nwaanyị kunye ka ọ gaa ubi gaa rụọ ọrụ Fulani chiri ehi bata ebe ala gị n'iyi okwu ebepụ ya isi anyị pụta anyị kpọpụ onye nwe anyị n'ugwu Awụsa ahụ ejide anyị wee gbuo ihe ọbụla anyị mara aka n'ime ha si maka ha gaa n'ihu elekwa ọdụ ụgbọ mmiri n'igwe ọcha bụ ememiri ọhịa nke dị na Kalaba otu aka ahụ anyị na-ala nsọ ebe Biafra bụ ndị kọstọm sokwenye anyị n'etiti anyị anọghị n'ime mmiri kama kọstọm juru ebe niile ha wee na-ata anyị ahụhụ anyị kwuo sịpụta anyị ka kpọchie anyị kwuo ekwa sịpụta anyị ka gbagbuo anyị onye nwe anyị na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe ọ bụ ụzọ dị anya ka isi na-ekwu ndị iro anyị n'anya wee karịa ndị nke gị akwa anyị bụ ụmụ Chineke akwa ọba aha anyị ka anyị na-aza akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza ike Chukwu akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza amara Chineke akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza Chisom akwa ọba anyị nwe na-aza Chizoba nna nke dị nsọ onye ime eluigwe dịka otu onye iro dị na nyebe ụmụ gị bịa ka iwe zọpụta anyị bịa ka iwe napụta anyị n'aka ọjọọ ihe bịa ka iwe lụọrọ anyị ọgụ bịa ka iwe dịtụ ozu ọgụgụwa mgbe mmiri Goliat Chineke nna nke igwe ruo ememiri Fero sikwa otu a mee ka Fero ka ọ guzo n'ihu ụmụ ndị anyị bi obi ka o wee taa akọkọ igiri ụtọ ọzọ ị ga na-edu anyị n'ụzọ niile nke ezi omume ọ bụla adịghị na anyị na-aga ndagwurugwu onyinye ọnwụ ọ bụ nwa bụ ekekere n'igwe n'ụwa nwunye ọbụla kere gị nweghị malite nweghị ọgwụgwụ kama anyị onwe anyị gwa anọkwa ahụ ofu ụbọchị anyị ga-anwụ n'ezie kama ma akpọ na okwu gị na-anọgide ego mgbe ebighị ebi ọ bụ ya mere anyị ji were gị n'anya isi anyị wee na-asị nna nke dị nsọ bịa ka iwe gosi anyị Biafra na ndụ ma abụghị n'ọnwụ bịa ka iwe na-ekebe gị na amara gị wee kpuchiri anyị ka uwe bịa ka iwe zọpụta ndị nke gị bịa ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee bịa ka anyị na-ewetụta na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site n'aha gị ma igbuchi oke abịa ma
Welcome. Thank you for joining me on this very evening section. I appreciate every one of you that has connected wherever you are connected from. Please like and share the program on your platform, share to family and friends, share to everyone that is close to you to join us on this very quick evening program. This is an assignment that we have taken upon ourselves that we will continue to encourage the Biafrans. We will continue to expose the evil in Nigeria, and we will continue to speak up for those who have been oppressed. And that is the assignment we have come to fulfill this morning. Remember, in our platform, we do not come to instigate violence. We don't come to preach hate. We do not come here to attack people or individuals. All we do is to create awareness, more especially awareness on those who are being intimidated, those who have been abused, those whose rights are being trampled upon. And we will continue to do so, more especially the case of Biafran people. We will speak about it with every little opportunity that we have, and that is what we are doing. So I welcome everyone that has joined us. I can see my sister, Messi. Thank you so much for joining, Messi Akere. I appreciate you. Thank you for being there. So I welcome everyone that has connected and those who are going to join later and watch the program. As we know, a lot is happening, and this evening, in continuation of the same program we did in the morning, this evening we get to take it on a different dimension. It says Nigeria's hidden crisis, power, control. Nigeria hidden crisis, power control, and the urgent call for global intervention. The case of Nigeria is no longer a guesswork. It's not something that somebody will say he or she does not know. The evil in Nigeria is now open. The atrocities of the government is exposed, and it is no longer a hearsay. The only thing that is remaining now is for the world to take action. We have created awareness the best way anybody can. The Biafran people have taken awareness of the evil in Nigeria to the highest level. I don't think there is any other awareness that can be created the way the awareness of the situation of Nigeria has been created by the Biafran people. It is the Biafran people that drew attention of the world to what is happening in Nigeria today. And it didn't start just yesterday. Mazen Nandi Kanu took more than a decade to preach that message. Mazen Simon came on board, took it to another level. And today we are still here speaking about the same issue. And I bet you it was our effort that gave strength and mind to other regions to begin to speak. And finally today, the world has finally recognized that Nigeria is not safe for any human being. That is why it is designated as a country of particular concern. But that designation is not enough. Because even after the designation and the interest of the US, the Janjaweed have intensified in the attack. It's as if they are rushing to see that they accomplish whatever they want to do before any other thing happens. So what we are seeing today in Nigeria is increase in attack, increase in human rights abuse, increase in dehumanization, increase in land grabbing, increase in kidnapping and terrorist attack. Every single thing that has been happening has doubled. Every single thing that has been happening has doubled. So it is not enough to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Neither is it enough to pay attention. Action is needed in Nigeria. In as much as we know that the United States of America, under Donald Trump, is having a lot of distraction that is coming from the West, from Iran. The case of Iran is a major issue that they are paying attention to now. And we pray that it doesn't linger more so that the issue of Nigeria will be settled once and for all. We have done a great job. The only pain I have today is that our leaders are not here. They are not here to enjoy the fruit of their labor with us and also to push more this last minute. I strongly believe that if Mazen Nandekano was to be outside and what is happening on the earth today is happening, it will be a different ballgame. If Mazen Samoneka was to be outside and what is happening in Nigeria today is happening, it will be a different ballgame. But as it stands today, nobody is speaking for us. We are only managing and trying to add our little voice, believing that Chukwu Okike Abiyama will blow the trumpet for us. There is little or nothing we can do. And as it stands today, there is nobody anywhere doing anything that is very pronounced. I mean, if you know that there are people that are putting effort, there are some people on their own that are making some little effort. There are people on different grounds or different Bible putting on different effort, making sure that our leaders are released. It is commendable. But when you talk about a massive push, which we need a massive push to bring down that wall of Jericho. But when we need that massive push, unfortunately, the leaders we have that can be able to activate that massive push, the leaders that have the confidence, the knowledge and wisdom to activate that massive push, they are not around with us. They are not around. But in all the same, we cannot give up. We need to continue in our own little way to speak And wherever you are as a Biafran, you need to prepare for what is coming. The story of Nigeria will never change. It will never get better until it gets worse. That is Nigeria. And if anybody tells you that Nigeria is going to get better tomorrow or next, sorry, that is a deceit. That's it. It doesn't matter who finally becomes the Zoological Republic president, who contests or who did not contest. I saw a news in one of the news title where they said that Peter Obi is running away from ADC again. So when you look at all the frustration that is happening, I have always said it that if Peter Obi himself had some wisdom, he should have just stepped aside and allowed these people, allow Tinubu to continue, allow Tinubu to complete his 8 years, and let's see what will be the outcome. Allow Donald Trump to do what he has to do within this time. We don't need this distraction. We don't need it. It's unfortunate we don't have people that will make that massive push, that we attract the United States or the world. The plan that Mazi Simon ever had before he was taken away. Every blessed day, Mazi Simon was coming out and telling us that immediately after the declaration of Biafra, that we are going to go all out to defend the declaration. He didn't hide it. He said we will go all out. That you don't just make a declaration and you sit back and think that the recognition will come. You need to go after the recognition. You need to chase the recognition in a crazy way. You need to do some crazy things. You need to make some crazy moves. If sincerely you are serious and you want to be recognized. Nobody's going to recognize you just by writing a letter. Not just by talking. No. Action is needed. But as it stands today, we do not have somebody that can push for that action. That is why today Nigerian government is bold, doing anything they want to do in our land, taking innocent life, conducting different kinds of operations, arresting and killing innocent people. Many of you have had news of so many Biafrans that have been arrested and kidnapped. Nobody is going for them. Nobody is making any effort to free them. Because those who are supposed to do that, they are not here with us. And that is why every time I come online, I cry for the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa. And I say it and say it again. The only genuine project in this struggle today is freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa. If you are doing something apart from that, I'm sorry. You are distracting yourself and deceiving others. Any other thing anybody is speaking about, talking about, except the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Ekpa, is a deception. Today, seeing how strong Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is, seeing how the Biafrans love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, some group of individuals are doing anything they can to bring him down out of envy. Why will he be the only one respected? Why will he be the only one people listen to? Why will people love him so much? And then Nega will be boldly sit on her platform and say, why would people be respecting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Why would people be obeying everything that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said? A question a woman is asking. It is so sad. The world God have just created women the way he created them. I don't know why is it that whenever something very bad is going to come, it comes from a woman. At the same time, when good things are coming, they come from a woman. Many strong men that were brought down in history were brought down by women, castigated by women. Women were used. Even the first man, it was a woman that was used to bring the first man down. Adam. Today, a woman has again taken the contract to bring down our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But I tell you, she is going to fail woefully. and the outcome is going to be disastrous. It's a pity she doesn't know what she's stepping into. But I believe when the time comes, she's going to learn. But she's going to learn in a very hard way. So, my fellow Biafrans, wherever you are, don't allow anybody to deceive you. Do not allow anybody to distract you. Do not allow anybody to tell you anything other than self-determination of the Biafra people. And always put your heart on the collective interest of the Biafra people, the unity of purpose. As I say always, you have the right to be in any group you so choose. Any group that your heart accepts, be there. But while you're in that group, make sure that your heart is focused on the unity of purpose. Make sure that that group where you belong have something they are doing to see that our leader, Mazi Simon Ebanjoko, is represented accordingly in the court. Make sure he's properly represented. Every one of us know the effort he has put, the wonderful job he has done. But today, look at every effort he has made. They have rubbished it. And they didn't stop at that. They continue to pay people to blackmail Mazi Simon Ekpa, blackmail Mazi Nandekan. But it doesn't matter how they try to do it. The Biafrans know what they want. And I bet you, no matter how they push the propaganda and blackmail, they will never ever succeed. At the end of the day, we shall be vindicated. But this woman that calls herself Loloneka, her end is going to be very, very bad. I don't know why some of us are some of us Biafrans, Igbo Biafrans, our jealousy doesn't know bound. Some of us, our jealousy, it doesn't know bound. A man that the whole world is seeing and confessing the good work he did. Today, it is his own people that are fighting him. Very, very bad. Very bad. It's a very shameful thing when you go on media and see what the Biafrans are doing, attacking a man that gave his life for all of us. I don't know how long they will go with that madness. You think you are doing massive dynamic, you are destroying yourself. And I bet you, when the time comes, you will not live with the story. The same thing that the Middle Belt did to Biafra, today they are suffering it. Everyone that connive with the enemy to fight against Biafra and blackmailers, go and see them today. They are being decimated. Many of them are in IDP camp. Some of them, you are not aware what their parents did. They are suffering it. Because the evil that men do live with them. Likewise, every idiot that is fighting against Mazen Namdekan today, speaking against Mazen Simon Ekpa, this very evil you are doing will follow you and your children. It will follow you and your children. You can't escape it. It's a question of time. Every one of you that is pushing this lie, propaganda against our leaders, you will never go scot-free. Nigeria is a failed state, irredeemable, regardless what anybody says. If you like, take it. If you don't like, take it. It's up to you. The truth is there for the whole world to see. And that is why every evening we come here to continue to reveal truth, including going to their own conventional media. We go to their media to bring their lies and evil for the world to see. And from there, we share things that are happening in Nigeria. So this evening, as always, we will still go to their conventional media to go and look up what they have in their conventional media. We go there and bring their lies and propaganda, put it in the public, the evil that is happening in that Nigeria. Because we can't just keep silent, or maybe it's just speak on our own. People will think we are making it up. It is always good to use information that is coming from their own conventional media to support our argument. So that tomorrow it wouldn't be that we are the ones just speaking. It won't be that we are just the ones speaking. It will not be that we are the ones making trouble. So it is important that we take these things out there for the whole world to see and know what the zoological republic has become. So, my fellow dear friends, just hang on your seat, stay close, and let us go to the conventional media and see what is happening. We are going to look at what is happening in the conventional media. The propaganda, the lies we will debunk, and the self revelations they make, we allow the world to hear. Let's watch.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you are joining us, this is Dale with this one. Kimberly Daniels, a Democratic lawmaker in Florida House of Representatives, has alleged that Nigeria's Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, attempted to bribe a United States official to influence the narrative surrounding a report by the United World Congress of Diplomats. But according to her, the alleged attempt was
Nigeria Minister of Defense have carried their bribery and corruption to the United States of America. Matawalle accused of an attempt to bribe U.S. official. It is not even accused because after investigation, you will see that it is anything they say Nigeria did, they did. Anything they say Nigerian officials did, more especially in bribery. That is the way they run. Every one of us, we are here when they paid 9 million. 9 million to change the truth. What else are they going to do? They do everything everything humanly possible to keep away the truth. And we will continue to expose their lies. Let's hear how this position was made.
considering findings in the UNWC report on the killing of Christians in Nigeria, which said indicated Matawalle, to maintain that no level of pressure would deter her from speaking out against the killings of Christians in the country. But Daniels, who also served as chairperson of the UNWC, had earlier called on President Bola Tinubu to remove Matawalle over alleged involvement in the killings across places, Benue, Kaduna, and other parts of Nigeria. Matawalle has not issued an official response to the argument. Now let's take a listen to what the Democrats said in Firewall United States of America.
Blood-bought believer. I am a child of the King, an heir of God, and a joint heir with Christ. And my brothers and sisters in Nigeria who love the Lord and are gathering to worship Him are under attack. And they are being terrorized and murdered. Children are being murdered. Children are being taken from their mothers. Husbands are being taken from their wives. Wives are being taken. They don't know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And we're sitting up here in our comfortable America. And I'm not saying, that, we got to pick up everybody's cross. But I'm going to pick up my cross.
Yes.
And this is what a part of my cross is. This is a part of Apostle Kim, State Representative Daniels, is picking up her cross. How about that? And ain't nobody mad but the devil. What is wrong with me saying stop killing Christians senselessly? What is wrong? So, I talked about my authority. So I got a right to say what I'm saying. So y'all get off my page, trolls. You bullies. You internet bullies. Find you somebody else.
Don't mind them.
Because look me in my face. Do I look like I'm scared?
No.
I'm not going to go back and forth with
That's
you.
what they do. Bully
page.
people online and talk lies.
And so
And thank God, this one is a Democrat, not even a Republican.
Is directly connected with the motive of the UNWC, the United World Congress of Diplomats. Well, I am the chairwoman, but I walk closely with the leadership of the Secretary General, who is the founder of that group. And I am a woman of submission. And I don't speak of my own volition and of my own voice. I'm speaking on the behalf of the Christians who have called me from Nigeria. I'm speaking on behalf of the people that the UNWC represents. I'm speaking on the behalf of the Nigerians who I've been in constant contact with right here in my district.
There you have it, Kimberly Daniels, member of the Florida House of Representatives, speaking to what she called a Christian genocide in Nigeria. She also said that some people are on the page, trying to bully her and all of that, but that she is not going to run away from all of that, insisting that it is her call to duty. Oh, well, we have in the studio to help us make sense of this, Mr. Darlington, Mr. Hope, lawyer, but it appears that the capacity of the political affairs commentator. We also have with him Mr. Somi Rata. Mr. Rata is a philosopher and author, business entrepreneur, who appears too as a political affairs analyst. And from our Benin House station, we'll be joined by William Zedia, who's a political commentator and a member advisory board of the State. And from our Upper House station, we'll be joined by Sachuka Nabusi, who is a fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, publisher, media manager, and public affairs. And gentlemen, good morning, welcome, and thank you for joining us on POP this morning. We appreciate your presence. Now, let's start from the studio here. Mr. Agumwa, we hear that from US legislator Kimberly Daniels that our own Minister of State for Defense, talking about former governor of Zamfara State, Pedro Masawale, tries to drive them to play that on Christian genocide. How do you react to that?
The thing is that I don't think it's a rumor, and I don't think this is the first time. Every Muslim leader that I know has been trying to play down this particular Christian genocide. They don't want to accept that fact, especially the Muslim leaders. That's why they are not talking. That is why they have been very quiet about these things. They play it that they pretend as if it's not true. Imagine if it's the other way around. Mr. Koro, do you think you'll be in this studio now? And that is why I am saying that this country is not structured in a way that will make it to survive or to grow. Seriously, we have so many people in this country who don't believe in Nigeria or the people in it. And that's a very big problem. All these things that people struggle, we want our brothers to be here, we want the Christians to be, we want the Muslims, it's because of this type of thing. Imagine if a Christian were to be in leadership, will he allow this shit to happen? Mr. Okoro, will he allow this shit to continue the way it has continued?
So you think Christians are being killed because the president is a Muslim?
Of course. I mean, what do you expect? Look at the way they're treating this matter. Look at the way that only 2 Muslims were killed when an American made a statement in Kenya. Only 2, and they reported it that I will plan to sorry. And they sent him away. Because they said that because of the statement he made, 2 Muslims were killed. Can you imagine? The way people go about this religion thing is so annoying. It's so annoying.
Now, what should be more concerning to the Nigerian people? Is it that Nigerians, both Muslims and Christians, are killed, or the fact that it's been framed around Christian genocide?
What is the most annoying that people are being killed?
Okay.
There shouldn't be any killing at all. For whatever reason, and in fact, for a useless cause. Mr. Okoro, for a useless cause, because if I sit down here and tell that I know why these people are killing you, I cannot tell you. I don't know. I just don't know. You wake up and you go into a place to slaughter everybody. And everybody keeps quiet as if it doesn't matter. Imagine if the other religious group you are being slaughtered like this. Is that not a war? But they are doing this thing because Christians are mostly peaceful. That is not the only crime we have committed.
No, that will turn to anarchy.
But now that you are killing Christians, is it not? I mean, can't you see how everybody is going about their business as if it didn't matter? But don't two Muslims were killed, and then Central America they wait.
All right, then thank you very much, Mr. Gumo. Let's bring in Mr. Ransa into this conversation. Mr. Ransa, we see a government that is struggling very hard, to deny the perception of Christian genocide. Anytime Nigerians or even foreigners say, well, Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria, the government is quick to say, no, it's not only Christians that are being killed. Both Christians and Muslims and people of other religious affiliations are being killed. We have a government that accepts the fact that Nigerians are being killed and practically do nothing to stop all of that. How do you react to this shifting of, perceptions, this shifting of positions? No, it is not just Christian genocide. Nigerians are being killed in their number, especially by the government of the people.
Well, I think this whole thing shows the lack of sensitivity to the back of Nigerians. It shows a total abdication of responsibility part of the government. It shows that the people who are in charge, that superintend over the affairs of our nation, have no business being there in the first place. Because the first rule of governance, what legitimacy any government under the sun can have is to first and foremost, ensure lives and properties of citizens that is secure. That's security. Because why are they supposed to do that? Because everybody in a given society have, given their individual sovereignty, their individual will to contribute to the general will, and the government controls that general will on behalf of everyone. So why are they doing that? Because all of us cannot carry arms, all of us cannot defend ourselves, all of us cannot, get good life for ourselves individually. There might be clash of interest. So they gave it to a group of people, supposedly, for them to oversee our affairs, for them to secure our lives, secure our properties, give our life a meaning. But rather than doing that, the people who got themselves into power decided to help society slide back into the operational state of nature, where life has become short, brutish, nasty, and then whoever has arm is right. So, we said this thing during the time when this government was coming to power. It was bad with the direct government. But when they now came in and they brought Muslim tickets, what has never happened before? Even the president, remember, when Buhari brought the nomination of APC, he said, let me leave the rest, the people just so they are sure to let you decide. Those people is coming. They said, no, you can never support Muslim today. So I appointed Oshibani, who now became the vice president. But in this instance, the president decided to put Muslim ticket to the extent that they had to manufacture bishops who later were fighting for crops to them. So you see, the country, I don't know what they expect from Nigerians. You see, anarchy that they want, I just can't wrap my head around. Okay, it's bad enough that they are killing Christians. But the denial is adding salt to injury. So because this thing has happened. To even admit it, it's not only for Christians, so even the military men, generals will be killed and they deny the fact that it happened. Nigerians will be killed in their hundreds and they face deny it. So what is wrong with this government and deniers? That's the question.
All right, Mr. Lanta, I love the angle you're taking, but just yesterday, the president did a minor shake-up in his cabinet. We saw him swear in the new finance minister, and one would wonder why it appears as though the defense ministry and even the insecurity infrastructure, he still hasn't touched it. So I want to ask you, is it that I know we have the chief security advisor, we also have the minister of defense. Why haven't they been called to go? Why does it seem as though that ministry appears untouchable? What exactly is happening?
Well, none of us can say exactly what agreement the president, had with powers that be, No, for him, when he was saying that he looked all, was putting in the communism philosophy, we don't know what transpired. But the truth is that whatever decision they, whatever plan, whatever agreement they signed, that shouldn't be a reason for him not to take action. The lady, the US have advised that Matawale should be let off, the government. You can see the double standard is architecture, is military security architecture. The chief security advisor of the nation is saying that these bandits, these terrorists are our brothers, maybe vagabond brothers, but they are brothers all the same. What kind of brotherhood are we having with killers? Mindless, killers.
What kind of brotherhood do we have with killers? Oh well, let's take this conversation to Orca, where we have Sanchuka Nabife join the conversation. Good morning to you. Welcome once again. Let's ensure that your audio is fixed, that we can get your audio. Sanchuka? Okay, I hope that will be sorted, then you get your contribution. Now, let's speak to the propaganda going on. And then, one party saying, look, they're paying monies, they're paying about $4.5 million to lobby agencies to help, clean up the images and of Nigeria, deal with the narrative of Christian genocide in Nigeria. We have another individual, I think, getting getting some lobbyists also to help, do whatever, and let the international community know what is going on in Nigeria. All of that, all the monies being put into lobbying agencies abroad. I'd like to speak to the leader of the woman there, things that she said there, and your thoughts on Christian genocide. And by the way, there's been some report, some video, I think it was that recent one on 2025 video that was on social media over the weekend of a reverend father who was caught with weapons meant for terrorists, was caught with the weapons allegedly to be delivered to terrorists. And the voice in the background was saying, look, this is a reverend father caught with the weapons and all of that. So let's just, speak to all that I have put out there so far and how that makes you.
Right, but there are clear actions that define them. That is, there is an attempt to make somebody actually do something with a persuasion, either in kind or in cash, for something substantial to persuade him out of. In the case of bribery, in the case of lobbying, you're trying to present an alternate view, even if it is not popular, or even if it is false, or even if it is right but covered. Lobbying, all of them take money. But the first one goes to the extent of criminality. Until Daniels, the lawmaker from US, establishes that was what was done in her case, or the case of her team and Matawale, I will assume that I should expect more information. However, it is not out of imagination that somebody who is working with the government, like Matawale, would, or somebody who is also a Muslim, let's make it so clear, given what is happening in Nigeria, because they've made it look like Muslim versus other things, or Christian versus Muslims. The issue is that Nigerians are being killed, and a country or representatives from the United States of America have come to see how true or false that is. Now, what is either wrong or disgusting in what has happened is the sustenance of the narrative that when there is a killing, nobody died. They claim that something did not happen until it is proved beyond reasonable that they now come with a denouement. Or when something like that happens, they begin to put down the figure, suppress the magnitude. It will look like those who were reporting the facts are sensationalizing. No, that shows the problem we are. The problem is that we're living in denial. I won't support the claim that Matawale was bribing or intending to bribe until it is well proved. But the signs are there that there are people who are doing something like the Matawale Act, including Matawale himself. So until we prove it, we will establish it. Secondly, there's something you mentioned about propaganda, and that's the area I like most in this Nigerian narrative of now. In the propaganda that we have adopted to use from the federal government, which we are unfortunately subletting to ethnic nationality social media operators. The narrative is them and us. Meanwhile, we are talking of the same Nigerians, and that is unfortunate. The narrative that there are some Nigerians against Nigeria, that there are some things being reported about Nigeria that some people should not say, but some people would say. That is the wrong propaganda directive. Because when it goes into the social media, you begin to see the them and us that divide us. And once we are divided, as it has become in Nigeria in over a decade now. So the problem with us is not choosing the kind of social communication we should engage in. As we progress, you will find out where those things are showing up. Our propaganda direction is totally supportive of the dream of the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sachuka. Williams Ajayi, good to have you on the program. Let's get your thoughts in on this. And I would like you to react to the narrative of genocide, Christian genocide. Some people will say, yes, Nigerians are being killed. It's not a Christian Muslim thing. But then we see stories like that of John Awu, a young man who's been in captivity for over a week now. And then we see videos trending on social media where his captors are torturing him and telling him to denounce his Christianity. Is that a deliberate attempt to incur the wrath of the Western world, by that I mean America, to Nigeria, that there is a fight against Christians in Nigeria? If you did, can you respond? Williams? All right, I guess Williams is dealing with some audio problems, so probably come back to Williams. But let's bring this to Mr. Darlington and go on. Is that anything to attract the anger of America? Because we see that video of John Oru, the young man. In fact, the other day I saw a post saying that the terrorists are saying, look, that they've seen all the reactions on social media, and if those that are reacting, showing compassion, can just contribute 10,000 naira each, They're going to raise a ransom. Some of it has been paid. You know, they are saying they will release it until all of it is paid. And they say, if you guys can do some sort of crowd funding, you guys will raise the money. And the government is listening to all of that. These guys are on TikTok. These guys are monitoring social media. They know what's going on. It's like a deliberate attempt. And they say, look, renounce Christianity. We saw the torture. And then we've seen letters written to communities saying, look, accept Islam and we will not come for you. Is there some deliberate move to ensure that, look, Nigeria incurs the wrath of the Western world, America in particular?
I will blame the government, the leadership of Nigeria, because it is a Muslim ticket. And under their watch, this type of nonsense is going on.
Is this about the Muslim ticket or something else, something more?
I said they are the one in the leadership. Ordinarily, this type of things should have happened. In fact,
Mr. Gokmo, under Bukari and the Muslim man, you know, 66,000 Nigerians were killed in that state. So
Nigerians,
Muslims.
Nigerians of which religion? It became worse under this particular leadership. That was why America got involved. It became worse now. It became selective. Most of the things that happened under Buhari, everybody is aware. But in this particular incident, they are selecting Christians.
Okay, so under Bukari, both Muslims or no Muslims were killed, or more Christians.
The people that died under Buhari, I could say we are mostly Hausas and other nationalities.
So let's profile them in terms of age.
But you don't have that record. You cannot have that record. But in this case now, it became very pronounced. That is why the Western world got involved. It became pronounced under Tinubu. And so they cannot deny it. My fear is that this is not generate into a
Professor, my direct question is there a deliberate attempt to ensure that America, Nigeria falls out with America and America comes for Nigeria, and then we see more bombings like the December 2025 bombing that we saw?
No.
Is there something deliberate, some party, some individuals are doing to ensure that happens in Nigeria?
From the look of things, I think these guys have become more important because they know nothing will happen. Yes, they have become more important because I can't imagine some referrals, some rats trying to annoy America. And then we stand in their minds.
The reason I ask is we've seen the doubling down of on insecurity right after the December 25.
That is what I'm telling you here. Yes.
There's been a doubling down.
Those who are behind what's going on, you already know there are some information they have that you and I may not have. They know that America may not go further than what they are
By
doing.
those you mean the sponsors?
Yeah, the sponsors, yes. There are people that are teleguiding these guys. Those guys you see on TikTok, they are just minions. They are just the foot soldiers. The real sponsors are somewhere. They are the ones in the high places. They are the ones that are paying the money. And so they have information that they pass in their voice.
All right, talking about sponsors, Barry, I'll have to let you go now because I understand you have to be on another program on our sister station. So we'll have to let you go. Now, talking about sponsors, Williams, let me come back to you. Please hold on. Williams, can I get your audio thing now?
Yes,
all right.
can you hear me, Mr. Moses?
Great. Please react to the question asked earlier. And then we talk about the sponsors and the names that were published recently and how effective do you think that will be in dealing with the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, dealing with the sponsors now. Go ahead, please.
Yes, you see, this matter is very, very sensitive because it is very obvious and crystal clear that there is Christian genocide, and for the government to make efforts to see that it stops the fact that it doesn't occur again. You are spending resources to conceal the evidence. The money you're supposed to even use to make sure that you put an end to this issue, you are spending it to conceal the evidence. It means clearly that there's actually Christian genocide. Because if there is nothing happening, you will not be moving around, spending money, government resources, to making sure that the world does not see or understand the kind of things that is happening in Nigeria. And it is very, very unfortunate. The barrister was speaking on the issue of Muslim incidents, this year, the concern that we have when the ticket came up, how Christians were reacting, and how they also have to hire a picture just to make sure that it is electable to the Christian populace in Nigeria. It is very sad and very difficult to bear for me as a person, seeing that people are out to serve God, believe in their faith, and then they are being persecuted, not just with bodily injury, being killed, for because they want to. Then coming to that video that was training, it was very difficult for me to accept it. Why? Because this is somebody who's been tortured because of his own religion, his own faith. It's not by force to come and practice your own religion. It is a freedom of expression in the Nigerian constitution. You can't say. So you cannot come and force me using anything or whatsoever to making sure I do my faith. And then somebody has to upload that video, Mr. Moses. And whoever upload that video is directly linked to those people that were on that video. And then you can't tell me that you can't trace the video and then see how to make sure that those people are approachable. You cannot tell them. Now Nigeria has spent so far since 2023 in the government 74.something billion naira in ammunition and equipment for the Nigerian military. Then tell me why you can't trace this simple IP. That you can't trace and then you tell me that the NSA are there gathering of intelligence. Putting around the internet, making sure you gather information that can lead to where there's any insecurity or uprising. And then you are spending such amount of money.
All right, William.
Okay,
William. The analyst that just left, Mr. Darlington Agomor, said, well, America has done what it can do, that it could not go beyond this. And that the terrorists, the attackers, clearly understand that, well, America is done because it cannot do more than that. I don't know if you share that sentiment. I ask that because if that is the position, does it look like America compounded a problem for us? Because probably they just came to internationalize the problem, because we also have other interests that are saying, well, since America is here, and see how we can. Anti-American sentiments growing around the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. I think this is more like two questions in one. Can you help us explain what you understand?
Now, I will start with Iran. There are a lot of negotiations between Iran, and then whenever they refuse, then America comes up and threatens them again and all that. The same thing that is happening in Iran, Islamist extremists, the same thing like that in Nigeria. But the way it's being perceived in Iran is not pointing to that football boom. But here in Nigeria, we can feel that it's almost compared to what is happening there. And then I guess America who are putting the attention that is actually needed. Information was sparse around. The direct instruction was given to the president. Stop this issue or we will intervene. But the expectation was sent. And then Daniel want to send people then back to America to go and make sure that we prevent the situation and say different things. And then the other day we heard that there were people, the military personnel already sent to Nigeria. But whatever is happening that cannot get involved in this fully as the way it's doing in Iran, the same issue of extremists, terrorist activities, there is something, some sort of negotiation. I will just tell you that there is some type of relationship. It is like this, let us think like that, because let me tell you, no matter what it is in this world, when it comes to politics, if you are the one that is at that messaging and protect you, if you cannot afford it, you are coming for you. And if you can afford it, you will leave you. And leave you when you decide you yourself to end the situation. So I don't think now that our own governments, our people that perceive the oil, the sort of thing that we protect them, and they are struggling our lives. It is very dangerous. But I'm sure we don't want to understand it. Or situation like that is big handling in Iran, which sure
Williams, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's bring the conversation back to the studio. Mr. Oranta, the international other countries of the world have termed this a religious genocide. But back here in Nigeria, you see a lot of Nigerians still argue that it's not really a religious genocide. We still talk about farmer headers because even Christians and Muslims have been involved, have become victims. So what exactly is this fight? Because, internationally it's being framed as genocide against Christians, but back here in Nigeria, some people are saying it's an attempt to take over the government, and perhaps maybe Islamite. But what exactly do you think this fight is?
Well, it's difficult to point the finger exactly at what is the reason. Because, some people have adduced reasons and tried to liken what is happening in the north to the Niger Delta question, which I say it is absolutely, they had no correlation. There's no correlation between the two. This, recall during Buhari's time, General Danjuma retired, came up and said, look, there is pollution, there is an Islamization policy. Even ODG also said, accused the government of Buhari of Islamization. Now, I think the real thing here is about supremacy. Supremacy of ethnicity, supremacy of religion. But what I keep wondering is why I, some Uranta, who want to fight the God, and after fighting for the God, I now pray, call that thing my God. Because for me to call you God, you are supposed to be the bigger person, the superpower, the superman, who should be protecting me. I'm not being protecting you. Let us leave the things of the gods for the gods, and we should act as humans. Because you telling me that I must leave my own religion and worship yours does not make sense. Because if I agree, say, okay, I worship your own way, or of what use is it?
Uh,
You know?
Of what use is it? A lot of Nigerians are, torn between what this is and what should be done. Government has put out some names. Let me just go to Chuka Nabife. Chuka Nabife. With the names put out, 48 of them, and put out as terrorism financiers in Nigeria. The those that are the 389 or 86 of them that have been convicted for supporting terrorists, some of them with logistics and the rest of them, the 744 that have been de-radicalized and reintegrated into society with their white Ashrabi and Quran in hand. Let's speak to the progress of government in dealing with this problem. Some have called it ethnic cleansing, some have called it farmer header crisis, some have called it genocide. Let's speak to government's the process of dealing with it. How far would you say the government has fared?
The religious side of it is to buy into sentiments that will help propel the criminal intent. But politics is the archetypal plot to get power. Then genocide is one of the instruments of terror anywhere in the world. And they mark out a people that will generate more practice so as to make them fear them more. They mark out the people that are more vulnerable because every prayer, every month looks for the easiest prayer. They mark out the people because the Christians, particularly the they also don't seem to have a united front, even in activity. So they mark out the people that will pose less resistance. And then, because they are buying into power, they look at the sentiments that will help the most in government. And if you check, there is a pro-Muslim um, government, a pro-Muslim structure within the security apparatus of Nigeria. There's a pro-Muslim operational direction in our military, law enforcement, and paramilitary and security agencies. So the whole gamut is about a politics to get to power. And if you know of states like Somalia, we saw, I was monitoring the news for a media house in 1994, one morning, when the first gunshot happened in Somalia. And we were describing in Mogadishu, and we were discussing, I told somebody, one of our elder colleagues, and I, and about two others were there, and we said, this thing is not ending soon. Please consider, count now. 1994 to 2026, is it not 32 years? And it's still simmering and blazing. Congo has not stopped since 1950s. Congo. You understand? There is a way people break crisis. Mind you, these are individual operators who don't have power base. They may not have yours. They may have your certificate, but they may not have any interest in using them. They may have the money, but they may not have any. They are greedy for power. So they are trying to build structures. If they manage to balkanize this state, Nigeria, it's large enough that one part of it can be feeding them. We will have the cases of the poor pots of this world. We have the cases of even Kabilas, Lauren Kabilas and co. We have the cases of child sellers. Even a small section of this country can feed a man and his family fat for generations. So the interest is in carving out some areas to rule, because for now they have the ears and sentiments of people in power that are grow into their sentiments. The moment you hear you have changes in the structure, and let me tell you one thing. There was one general information that we had about that. There is never a time you have this kind of amorphous and gorilla kind of setup that happens in a country for a long time, that the security operators don't know how. Security and intelligence. There is no how that they don't know who is fomenting trouble, where their base is, and most likely their intent. So it's likely that some people are working in cahoots with some state structures to make the state ungovernable. And there was a question, the build of the
Let's have you land on your thoughts.
we were building there as regards what could it mean that they are playing into the thesis of America or trying to compound the situation. They are all tenable. Some people, like the December 2050 family, some people are likely trying to affront America while also trying to make the situation remain, because what remains is status quo. So that is exactly what they want. They want the situation.
We have had them. My problem is most of the time, you see some people will come to their national television only to change narrative. They will leave the actual matter and begin to blame other things. The major problem in Nigeria is the plan to Islamize Nigeria. That plan to Islamize Nigeria is something that they are planning heavily. Each time people begin to draw another narrative, I find it difficult to listen or understand where they are coming from. Because the only thing I understand, I know that is going on, is the plan to Islamize the zoological problem. That plan to Islamize the country is something that everybody must talk about. We must talk about it. Most time you see people, they forget about the original issues and they'll be talking about things that are irrelevant. I don't know why. I can't understand why. I can't understand why. You come on a national TV, instead of you to say things the way they are, You try to be politically correct. You try to use grammar and English to confuse yourself, just like that man did. That man that is wearing red cap. These are cowards, bunch of cowards that cannot stand their ground and say the things the way they are. And that is our difference with them. That's the difference between us and them. We can't join them on those their nonsense manipulation. We see it the way it is, no matter what happens.
Around the globe, of course. We begin with one of the biggest international conflicts in the world today, as US President Donald Trump has extended the ceasefire with Iran just hours before the deadline. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the extension is to allow more time for talks while waiting for what he calls a unified proposal from Tehran. However, the US is maintaining its naval blockade of Iranian ports, keeping military pressure firmly in place, even as diplomacy continues. Due to the latest development, the White House has confirmed that Vice President J.D. Vance will no longer travel to Islamabad for planned peace talks. Let's bring the conversation back home, as President Bola Tinubu yesterday removed the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edu, as well as the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, in a minor reshuffle of the Federal Executive Council, FEC. In a memo signed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the President ordered Edu to hand over to Taiwo Oyedele as the substantive Minister of Finance, while Dr. Mutaka Dama has been named ministerial nominee and designate for the Housing and Urban Development Ministry. After his removal, Edu lauded the President for the opportunity to serve the country from the outset of his administration in May 2023. Dangiwa also expressed gratitude to Tinubu for the opportunity to serve in FEC and contribute to the delivery of the renewed Hope agenda. Now, the federal government has filed a 13-count charge at the Federal High Court against individuals accused of involvement in an alleged coup plot. The defendants include retired senior military officers, a serving police inspector, and other individuals. Among them are Major General Mohammed Ghana, retired, Captain Erasmus Victor, retired, and Inspector Ahmed Ibrahim. They are facing serious allegations, including treason and other terrorism-related offences. Former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva, is also named in the charge sheet as being at large and is expected to be tried in absentia. The accused are scheduled to appear before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik in Abuja for arraignment as proceedings now move into the formal trial stage. But we stay with the courts, as the Court of Appeal Abuja Division has unanimously dismissed the appeal by Julius Abure challenging the leadership of Nenadi Usman as chairman of the Labour Party. In a lead judgment delivered by Justice Oyejuju Oyewumi and supported by Justices A.B. Mohammed and Eberechi Suzette Nisom Wike, the court upheld the earlier High Court ruling recognizing Usman's leadership. The court held that the Supreme Court of Nigeria had already settled the matter on April 4, 2025, nullifying Abure's convention and affirming the authority of the High Court to direct INEC to recognize Usman. It also endorsed the party's caretaker committee under the doctrine of necessity. The appeal was dismissed with a 10 million naira fine imposed on Abure for wasting judicial time. He has, however, filed an appeal at the Supreme Court.
We had a valid convention that was held in Inewu, and that convention is still valid and is subsisting for 4 years. And I want to say clearly that the court didn't even look at Islamabad, brokered by the.
And after the Supreme Court judgment for the tariffs, fined him 10 million. I think they should fact check me. You will see that INEC, it was just in January this year, was given as at April 2025. Did INEC recognize?
Interesting to hear the name of Justice Eberechi Suzette Nisom Wike as part of that panel for that particular case concerning Abure. And, I think it was many people saw that this outcome would be predictable, given that the Supreme Court has already created a precedent, and it would have been strange for a lower court to go against that. But what are your thoughts?
Well, this is a shame on our democracy, I swear. I swear to God Almighty. This is a shame to our democracy. The Supreme Court gave a judgment as at April 2025. A political actor is still trying to change the Supreme Court judgment. And let me go to INEC. You know, when people say INEC is tainted, let me give you another empirical fact. Please fact check me, Nigerians. When the Supreme Court judgment was given, as at April 2025, did INEC recognize the Nadi Usman? When did INEC recognize the Nadi Usman? The same INEC that is so quick to quote status quo antebellum in the case of ADC, and the judgment came out in how many weeks? They are talking. When Supreme Court gave this judgment in April 2025, I asked, fact check me, Nigerians, did INEC recognize the Nadi Usman? They didn't. If you fact check me, you will see that INEC, it was just in January this year, thereabout, after Peter Obi left the party, that he recognized the Nadi Usman. Fact check me. So we should be here now, and we should be crying and talking about a story that the Supreme Court has already ruled on. Is that not an aberration to our democracy in the first place? Is that a reflection of the downside to our democracy in the first place? So when the rain starts to beat us, we know where it's beating us from. And we know what our democracy has become. I don't even think we should be talking about this story this morning. I don't think. For the fact that we are talking about it means that our democracy has gone decrepit. If a Supreme Court made a judgment since April last year, and we are still re-legislating the judgment of the Supreme Court, and kudos to the judges that reminded him and fined him 10 million. I think they should even have fined him more. I'm wasting our time on the judgment already delivered by the Supreme Court. What's the second?
We have US-Iran ceasefire. We have the coup plotters who have been arraigned, and we also have Minister Wale Edun being replaced.
I want to talk about what a comedian now calls the Strait of Hormuz, because they close it today, they close it tomorrow, they open it tomorrow.
Oh, Hormuz alone.
The Strait of Hormuz. That's what the Strait of Hormuz have become. The interesting thing is that, you see, when you have a leader that does not have the capacity to stay grounded, that flip-flops, your country will become a joke like America has become a joke internationally today. That's what's happening. Yesterday morning, he was talking on CNBC. He was talking tough. As at the evening, he said he has extended ceasefire again. We don't even know what to believe. And to this time around, there's no timeline for the ceasefire. It's still a time that they can reach negotiations. What does Trump want? Almost in all regard, he has failed. Do you know that?
You're an idiot. You don't know what you're saying. Out of your sentiment and this, you talk rubbish. That Trump has failed. Bunch of idiots.
So this is a man that has gone to cost American taxpayers.
You better focus on your Buhari and your Bola Ahmed Tinubu before you talk rubbish here.
Idea.
Nonsense.
Exactly the same thing is doing in the Middle East. A war that his top generals have said, we don't have a way out of this. There's no point going into it. He has bungled the war that is extending ceasefire and is making the whole world suffer.
You never suffer rich now. You go suffer. When you suffer, you don't go see
we don't know
much.
what the lives of the JD Vals we talk about with the Pakistanis. And you see, that's why leadership matters. America has a leader that I'm sure it shudders in disbelief of how low the leader has made America become. And that's a sad reality of America as a nation today. Maybe after he leaves, they can get their country back. But as it is today,
you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I don't know what you mean by getting country back. Or maybe America is respected now more than ever. These are Democrat idiots that preach nonsense.
putting anybody.
believing on something that is not obtainable.
But
You
some
make
things will
someone
not
can
forget
cry,
Wale
cry,
Edufo.
cry.
At least he made us know that the money in the Federation account was about 10 trillion in the same year that the president told us that we've met all our targets. He also made us aware that despite the fact that we claimed that we're making a lot of money, there was no money to be released to be able to meet budgetary capex, capital expenditure. He also made us know that a lot of borrowing is not sustainable in the long run. While Edu said his piece, he made his advice. You might agree with him, you might disagree with him. I don't want to go into speculating of what transpired because all of us sitting down here, we can't know what is between Wale Edu and President Tinubu. They've known themselves longer than all of us. All we just want is an economy that works, and we wish all of them well. He has done his bits. Power is transient. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, let me start with Iran. 24 hours. What a difference can 24 hours make? As of yesterday, when we were here, we were anxious about whether or not the ceasefire, 2-week ceasefire, will end effectively by Wednesday evening. And the hostilities expressed about the meeting that was supposed to take place in Pakistan, Islamabad, brokered by the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, whether or not it would take place. The Americans had announced that J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, was there.
These are idiots that are supposed to focus on their own issue. They will not focus on their own issue, and they are telling us about American issue that they know nothing about. You are speaking about American matter that you know nothing about. Meanwhile, your country is dying. Your country is in a sorry state. You have not settled it. You are busy talking about America. Bunch of idiots and clowns. I think I will waste my time and begin to listen to you idiots.
Joining us now
When it
is
is
Doris Kandinara.
very clear
foreign commentary on
that
Nigeria.
you don't have anything to offer. Let us listen to this interview of Showore. I think it is much, much better than any other thing they want to present there. Let's listen to this interview that was granted to Showore. And let's hear what he has to say. It's an interesting one. So let us watch it together and see the content on what they have in that very interview. It is much, much better than to listen to this bunch of idiots who cannot solve their problem, and they are busy talking about country that is 1 million times better than them and will never ever descend so low as they are. But whenever they want to make themselves happy, you see them pushing the nonsense and idiotical line of thought.
So there's something I'm curious about. I actively follow your videos, and the one that really gets me fascinated is the ones where you are challenging the police authority. We saw you recently in a stadium. You went to participate in the sports event, and apparently you were told that you were sitting in the position of the place where the governor was supposed to sit. We also saw a video of you in Lagos. You were in a taxi, and the police said you should stop for a stop and search, and you challenged them.
Yes.
We also saw you recently at Federal High Court, and you also challenged these people. You've been harassed and arrested, yet somehow you are still sure-footed in activism. What is that thing that keeps you going? A lot of people consider you as a very stubborn person. Do you think you are?
Well, it is not about levels. It is about objecting to oppression. And that means I refer to myself as a very conscious objector. I will never do what is wrong, even if you put a gun to my head that I do not accept oppression, even when the oppressor is very, very powerful. And to a lot of people seem insurmountable. The recent events we counted as just a few in several activities I've been involved in. We, as young people in the university, as student activists, drove out the military out of power in this country. We did it, I'm not the only one, but we did it in collaboration with other activists in town. People like Shiganifa, Femi Falana, Bekora Sokuti. I am a person who lives in Fela and Black and used to hang out at the shrine. And, even she was funding back then that through several of the, middle-aged young people at that time, we formed a vanguard to drive the military out of power. So we have always been in confrontation with these authorities wherever we found them. We fought school authorities. The vice chancellors in my university, in collaboration with the military, drove me out of school twice. I was expelled from the University of Lagos twice. I ended up spending 6 years instead of my 4 years program. So I have, over these years, spanning 32 or more years, always resisted oppression and corruption. And when I even traveled abroad, I would go to events where these Nigerian leaders would come down and disrupt the event.
Those videos.
So they used to come to the US on Independence Day. They were abandoning Independence Day in Nigeria, come to New York to come and do Independence Day. And they would bring money and waste. They would have like tons of people. We'll go there and disrupt it until they stop coming. When they will have town hall meetings, we'll walk into the place and we hold it and resolve it in our own very little justiceable way. So I not only fight for justice, I bring justice to oppressors. And I have a lot of scars to show for it. But I know the question you asked wasn't directly answered, which is what is the motivation? I just hate oppression. I am, totally opposed to oppression, diametrically opposed to it. I think, there's something in my DNA that just, when I see an oppressive person, first, I detect them. I have that detector. And secondly, I resist them. And then damn the consequences. And the consequences, of course, you've seen are all over my life history, my physical body. I have broken nose, I have been beaten, I've been tortured, I've been shot at in the same country. So, but nobody deserves to live through such harrowing experience. In a country where you are born and bred and supposed to live at peace, in a just and prosperous society. And my experience started since I was 10 years old when policemen came and invaded our village in Ondo State, which is the side of Ondo State that's Niger Delta region. So, and I've told this story several times. While we were going through that experience that night, the eve of Christmas of 1980, and my dad was hiding in the ceiling mill of mat and sweating through it, afraid that the police might come get him. I made a promise to myself that if I survive tonight and I grow up, I would fight against the system that came to humiliate my family.
Wow, so that was where it all started.
That's where I made that solemn promise to myself. But of course, you make a great promise to yourself. You don't make them happen until you start to implement them. And then when I got to secondary school, yes, I would fight my principals and teachers, if they did something wrong. When I got to the university, the opportunity came because the enemies were very, 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 very strong and clear to us. That was Nigerian military. And one of them launched a book 3 days ago, Ibrahim Babangida.
Yeah.
We drove him out of power in 1993, August of 1993.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's a very interesting one. It shows how far Showore has gone for a very long time. Showore has actually been doing a great job. He has undoubtedly been doing a great job, and he needs to be applauded. He needs to be applauded. In Nigeria today, I don't think there's any other activist in Nigeria apart from him. And in his own case, his mission is very clear. very, very clear. He's going after the government, not the people that are going against individuals, not those ones who are fighting people, fighting themselves. So Showore has been very, very outspoken and focused on what he wants. And I appreciate that, even though we have our differences, but I respect him for making his choice on how to fight against the nonsense that's happening in Nigeria. Is a choice he has made, and he's following it.
On August 8, 2018,
Let's
a man stood
listen
on a
this.
stage at the Ikot Ekpeni Township Stadium and waved a broom. His name was Godswill Akpabio. At the time, he was the Senate Minority
These are the
Leader.
criminals
He was
in
the
Nigeria.
highest-ranking
Listen
member
carefully
of
and
the
hear what
opposition,
Nigeria has become.
People's Democratic Party, PDP. But on that day, he resigned. He defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Why? Look at the paper trail. In 2015, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, opened an investigation into Akpabio. They accused him of stealing a 108 billion naira from the Akwa Ibom State Treasury during his time as governor. The EFCC seized his assets. They prepared his file. The opposition leader was facing prison, so he made a transaction, he defected. What happened to the 108 billion naira investigation? The file disappeared. The EFCC went silent. Instead of a prison cell, Godswill Akpabio was appointed Minister of the Niger Delta. Today, he is the President of the Nigerian Senate. We are taught that Nigerian politics is a war between the ruling party and the opposition. But if you follow the money, you will discover a terrifying truth. They are not enemies. They are business partners. You are watching Historic Capital. This is the story of the opposition cartel. Recently, a former presidential candidate, Prince Adewale Adebayo, sat on a podcast and said the quiet part out loud. He stated that Nigeria does not have a real political opposition. When you hear a politician screaming on television about the government's failure, you think he wants to dismantle the corrupt system. He doesn't. He is just angry that his faction is not holding the checkbook. Look at Nyson White. In 2023, he was a PDP governor. He financed the opposition. He insulted the APC daily. Today, he is the minister of the Federal Capital Territory under an APC president, Bola Tinubu. He sits in the APC cabinet, allocating land in Abuja, while still claiming to be a PDP leader. He did not have to change his ideology, because there is no ideology. The Nigerian political system operates exactly like a corporate monopoly. During the day, they wear different party colors to keep the citizens fighting each other. But at night, they use the same accountants in Lagos. They buy empty mansions on the same street in Asokoro. They wash their money through the same offshore trusts in the British Virgin Islands. The political parties are just marketing departments for the exact same extraction machine. And they enforce this cartel through a code of silence. If the opposition party really wanted to expose the ruling party, they could do it tomorrow. They sit in the National Assembly. They approve the budgets. They have the oversight files for the central bank and the NNPC. So why do they stay silent when billions vanish? Because their signatures are on the contracts. Let's go to July 20th, 2020. The House of Representatives held a televised probe into the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. 81 billion naira had disappeared in just a few months. Godswill Akpabio, now an APC minister, was sitting in the hot seat. The lawmakers were grilling him, pretending to fight corruption for the cameras. Then Akpabio decided to break the code of silence. He looked at the committee and dropped a bomb. He said most of the contracts in the NDDC are given to members of the National Assembly. Panic erupted. The chairman of the committee, a PDP opposition lawmaker named Thomas Arietomi, realized the game was up. He leaned into his microphone and yelled, "Honorable Minister, it's okay. Off the mic, off the mic." That 3-second clip explains the entire Nigerian political system. An opposition lawmaker silencing a ruling party minister to protect the shared loot. The ruling party takes the lion's share of the federal budget. They buy the opposition's silence with constituency projects. They allocate 500 million naira for a rural road. The opposition senator picks his brother's company as the contractor. The ministry pays the money. The road is never built. When the ruling party steals $1 billion from the oil subsidy, the opposition cannot call a press conference to condemn them, because the ruling party will pull out the file showing the opposition senator stole the road money. Mutually assured destruction. Everyone is guilty, therefore everyone is safe. Every cartel needs a way to wash dirty assets. In the Nigerian political cartel, they use defection. On January 17, 2019, the national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, stood at a campaign rally in Edo State. He looked at members of the opposition PDP and uttered a sentence that became law. He said, "Once you join the APC, your sins are forgiven." He was not speaking as a pastor, he was explaining a financial mechanism. Let's look at the case of Bello Matawale. Matawale was the governor of Zamfara State under the opposition PDP. In May 2023, the EFCC publicly declared they were investigating him. They stated he had used phantom contracts to launder 70 billion naira of state funds. They released details showing how he allegedly used 100 different companies to move the cash. What did Matawale do? He officially aligned with the APC. The result? The 70 billion naira EFCC probe stalled. President Bola Tinubu then appointed Bello Matawale as the Minister of State for Defense, a man accused by the state's anti-corruption agency of stealing 70 billion naira, is now in charge of the military budget. This is how defection works. When a corrupt opposition governor joins the ruling party, he brings his political network, his delegates, and his stolen cash. In exchange, the federal government stops the EFCC.
That is Nigeria.
The dirty money he stole as a PDP governor suddenly becomes clean, legitimate political capital for the APC. No trial is concluded. The money is never returned to the state treasury. They just change their logos, and the ledger is wiped clean.
Absolutely.
You might ask, what about the new politicians? What about the Labour Party? In 2023, millions of young Nigerians voted for the Labour Party because they promised to cut the cost of governance. They promised to fight the cartel. Let's look at what they did when they got the checkbook. In late 2023, the government removed the fuel subsidy. The price of petrol jumped from 190 naira to over 600 naira. The naira crashed. Citizens were told they must suffer for the economy to heal. During this exact same period of extreme poverty, the National Assembly approved a purchase. They decided to buy 2023 Toyota Land Cruisers for all 469 members of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The cost, 160 million naira per vehicle. A total of 57 billion naira spent on luxury cars for politicians. Did the Labour Party lawmakers reject the cars? Did they protest? Did they block the budget? No. Opposition lawmakers quietly signed the allocation papers and parked the 160 million naira vehicles in their driveways. They released weak press statements on Twitter, but they kept the keys. Why didn't the opposition fight this? Because they want the tax revenue too. The opposition leaders know that if they win power in the next election, they want the federal treasury to be full. They watch the current government heavily tax the poor, remove subsidies, and introduce new bank charges. The opposition does not want to stop the extraction. They are just waiting patiently for their turn to control the vote. They agree on the core economics. Tax the citizen, protect the elite, drive the Land Cruiser. The cost of this cartel is not just missing numbers on a spreadsheet. The cost is paid in blood. Take the 70 billion naira that Bello Matawale was accused of laundering in Zamfara State. Zamfara is the headquarters of banditry in Nigeria. Farmers cannot go to their farms. Children are abducted from their schools for ransom. 70 billion naira could have equipped a state-of-the-art local security force. It could have bought drones, tracking equipment, and patrol vehicles to wipe out the bandits. Instead, the money vanished. The people are slaughtered, and the man accused of losing the money is promoted to the Ministry of Defense. When an opposition senator accepts a fake constituency project contract to look the other way, a primary healthcare center is abandoned in Delta State. Because the clinic has no electricity, a woman bleeds to death in childbirth. Because the road wasn't paved, The ambulance never arrived. The citizen looks around for a savior. He looks to the opposition party. He fights his neighbor on the internet to defend his favorite politician. He does not know that his savior had dinner with his oppressor the night before. He does not know that his vote did not change the system. It merely reshuffled the board of directors. We must stop analyzing Nigerian politics as a clash of ideologies.
No ideology, my brother.
There is no progressive party. There is only the cartel. They use the EFCC to enforce compliance. They use the National Assembly budget to distribute the dividends. They use defection to wash their criminal records. They perform a play for the public. They shout at each other on television, and they shout off the mic behind closed doors. As long as you are fighting your neighbor over which party is better, you will never realize that both parties have their hands in your pocket. The next time an opposition politician tells you he is fighting the government, do not listen to his speeches. Look at his contracts. Look at his real estate in Abuja. Look at his silence when the budget is passed. This is not a democracy failing to work. This is a monopoly working exactly as designed. This dossier exposes the final layer of the extraction machine. If this investigation changed how you view elections, you need to share it. Send it.
That is what I say all the time. There is no kind of change you can make to change Nigeria. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter who becomes the leader. It doesn't matter who becomes your president. This criminality will continue. This fraud and insecurity will continue. The only solution remains peaceful disintegration of the zoo. A peaceful breakup so that everybody go their separate ways and build a system by themselves and for themselves. What the British gave you is a control system, a system that is fraudulent, meant to control you and steal your resources. And it will remain that way for as long as you continue to confess Nigeria. For as long as you continue to confess Nigeria, nothing is going to work. Take it to the bank. Every one of you deceiving yourself of election, this party this or party that. Sorry. Next year, we are still going to be here. You're still going to be here complaining and shouting. In the next 10 years, in the next 50 years, you'll still be complaining. But I bet you, if you want to be free, have a sane society, join us and call for the disintegration of the Zoological Republic. Join us and call for a peaceful breakup of this entity called Nigeria to save life. May Chukwu guide and protect every one of you that join us on this program today. Thank you for watching where we are watching from. And may Chukwu guide and protect our leaders, Mazi Nandekam and Mazi Samuel. Good night, everybody. See you again tomorrow morning and share if you have not done so. Thank you and good night.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Yeah. They are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a different heritage, biased and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna oppress us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. Wave your flag, wave your flag, wave your flag, wave your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the block couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why?
Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom.
They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobuni wave was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody name, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my veins. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is the nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home.